You know, out of all these third parties, what is going to define a next generation game to you, Andy? I mean, you have everyone comes and pitches you a cover of Game Informer to say, hey, we want you to, put our game on the cover as a showcase of what the next generation is going to be, whether that's, Witcher or Infamous or things like or Titanfall that's on your most current issue people can get. What to you? What is a next generation game, and have you seen it this week? What defines that next generation game?
I mean, a lot of them are building them now. I mean,
right.
you know what I mean? And I think they're trying to answer a lot of questions. I mean, I think we talked about a lot of it being in that how do we offer new interesting ways for people to play? And I do think that kind of uncover of like, hey, you're playing a multiplayer game is definitely a lot of where we're at now.
Yep.
But I think you're able to, focus in some of the single player games that we're going to see. They're going to have a little bit more room to, I think, make better looking games, and of course, I think tell stories. I mean, I think that's always been one of those things that like game developers have been learning. It's one of those fascinating things to watch them learn, you know what I mean, as they learn how to tell stories. I mean, The Last of Us, as you mentioned earlier, is an amazing game that is the sum of like Naughty Dog from back when you worked on the,
it's the culmination of decades of work.
Yeah, and like that's really amazing to watch, and I think they're all getting into new worlds. I mean, even when you talk about mobile, it's just new. Free to play is new. I mean, it's still really new, and it's still learning how it's going to like form games and how consumers will react to it. I mean, at first the consumers were really excited, but I think things change as things go forward. So, I think we're going to see games that start to challenge the way that we look at games, and it's going to take some time. I think second screen is going to help. I think we're going to be able to do some interesting things with second screen, where you're going to be able to be like managing your units, supplying like your troops. Like if you can interact with your friends more, that's going to help a lot. Like commander mode in Battlefield 4 is really interesting. To be able to be on a bus helping your friends in a war is pretty cool, you know what I mean? And works in that mobile angle and starts to tie things together. So they'll get better at it. At first, I think a lot of the apps are going to be kind of dumb, truthfully, and the second-class stuff, but they're going to get better at it. They're going to start to use single servers and come up with really unique ideas that I think will help push us forward. 2014 is going to be amazing. That's why everyone says 2014. A lot of developers that weren't here, you know what they're doing? They're working on next-gen games for 2014.
And it's the stuff that comes out a year after launch when they've had the time to really digest the possibilities. That's why Naughty Dog, at least historically, hasn't really brought something out in the first year. We like to digest what we could do with the hardware and not race to get it out under extreme time pressure, which you do if you're a launch title or near launch title. There's a lot of stuff that's coming. I mean, we were at various times with various developers, we've talked about open world. You're walking around, you don't have your Ethernet plugged in, or you're not on Wi-Fi. It's a single player game. You plug in that Ethernet, suddenly someone walks in totally naturally from the horizon, and it's multiplayer. You can join with them or just let them go. They die in your game, you'll never see them again. It just knows that they've crossed your path, and they die like a real human being does. Huge amount of opportunity to stop doing single player versus multiplayer versus modal stuff and just wrap it all in a giant web. And again, it's very dangerous for me to look at these games, but it looked like Division was doing some of that, right? You had the PvE, and then all of a sudden a PvP. Oh, it's a PvP thing. And you've got the guy that comes in on tablet. Again, my vision of what we saw in a very short video, which is awesome, because if I'm playing on my console and I got to get on a train or I got to do whatever, or I'm on a bus and I take my tablet with me, and it's not necessarily smart glass, but it's a separate app, and I can help my team members or continue to earn credits or points or whatever, and then get back to the console and just seamlessly drop right back in. That's awesome. And that, to me, that's the future. That's
a lot cooler than the old way of like, oh, you can play this Assassin's Creed game on Facebook and it'll level up your guys. Like that was
all to the same experience.
Yeah, so if it ends up with this more robust experience,
you'll never be able to compete in a Battlefield world with a tablet against people who have a controller. But as a wing gunner, perhaps. As a satellite operator, perhaps. As some sort of back behind the lines organizer, absolutely. And if you can make that fun, you can continue to play even when you're not sitting in front of your own console.
I think that's going to be the key, though. Is like that stuff has to be fun. If it's just like, well, I'm piloting this hover drone and I can tap on guys so my squad can see them, you're not going to do that on the bus every day. You're going to do that once or twice and go, yep, okay.
Yeah, you got to make it fun.
It always has to be fun.
All right, so as we wrap up here, I know it's early, E3's just open, but is there any game for each of you that you're looking forward to the most this week, something you think is a contender for game of the show, something really you're excited about? Jason, anything that you saw yesterday that just blew you away?
I'm going to say this once again.
Yes.
I won't let myself get blown away until I put my hands on it.
Okay. All
But
right,
there
so
was, the Division definitely looked good if it does what I said it does. Project Spark looked very interesting to me. I'm going away from the big titles. I'm into the big titles. I love the big titles, but I know what I'm going to get with them for the most part. So when it comes to seeing something new, those two titles struck me.
All right, well, you'll have to tweet at Jason_Rubin your pick of Game of Show at the end of the week, and people can follow you. Andy, what's tracking for you?
You know, I think Titanfall looks great. I thought Destiny looked really great. I was actually very pleased. It's kind of sings to my Borderlands.
You sure that wasn't you? Just they finally showed it.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
Real.
I was pretty excited to see that. I thought Need for Speed Rivals looked like a lot of fun. I mean, you know, it's, like I think Jason said, there's an art to the sell of E3, right? I mean, you have to just kind of assume some things and think it'll be all right.
Scripted
but
demos.
there's a lot of games I think still to look at and kind of explore. But those are certainly the games that piqued my interest.
All right, Jeff. Finally,
The Division, Titanfall, and Dying Light, the Techland game. I think that's got a really cool look to it. The day-night stuff, the parkour stuff looks really neat. So I'm gonna play that. Hopefully that'll work out.
all right, guys. Well, thanks so much for hanging out on our very hot couch here for a full hour looking at the bonus round. But I think it's going to be a really interesting year for the industry to see how everything pans out.
There's no question about that.
And this is what makes it fun. That's
this is the year. The last few years are not this year. This is the year.
This is why millions of people around the world are watching. And really thank you guys for all your insights. It's been a great bonus round.
See all of our shows and game reviews now on the brand new GT app on Xbox Live and the GT Originals iOS app too.